Oh, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Or you just sit
Wherever you want. Just setting up here.
What's that noise? Do you know what that noise is? You don't hear it?
I hear something, but what does it sound like?
Sounds like a little knocking noise over by
Good afternoon, everyone. We will be starting in a few minutes here. We're just going to wait for other people to hop on. Good afternoon, Zoom people. Hi.
Hey.
That's how I roll. Okay, I just got my butt handed to me by my coach. So, all right. Are you guys ready to take 10 listings this week? These guys are gonna tell you how, right? No. Okay.
I mean, I'd like 10 listings too, but.
Okay, all right, guys at home or home, wherever you are while you're on the Zoom, I have the chat window open. So if you have a question, just either type it in the chat or speak it when there's a moment. But I'm just gonna run through a couple questions I have already in possession, and it's probably gonna generate a lot of questions for you. So we can wait. You know, we'll just get rock and rolling. So without Jose, when he pops in here, we'll just re-ask him the same questions if we need to. Does that sound good with you guys at home? And I can't see everybody at one time, so.
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Jess. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is our very first Q&A panel, and thank you for being the guinea pigs, of the panel, but we wanted to start it off with basically top rookies. So you guys have been highlighted as two people that, pardon my language, have kicked ass very early on in your career. So, and I'm just gonna say it like that. I know it was recorded, so shame on me. But so we thought, well, you know, we have a lot of other new agents here that they're trying to get their feet on the ground, or they've been doing this for a while and they're just like, I don't know where to start or whatever like that. So why not come to you guys and see where that started? So first question that we're going to go through, and you guys can answer it, whatever, but be open and honest because it's an opportunity. So first is, what did you do before you decided to do real estate?
Can we go first?
Sure.
Okay. I'm Margie Burns. I am on the Clark team. I was a teacher before I did real estate. So I taught elementary school for 9 years, first and second grade. Decided to stop teaching after I had my first child because I didn't want to raise kids and teach kids all day long. And kind of stayed home with her for the first couple of years. And then once I decided to go back to work, I entered this field.
Awesome. Mark?
I'm Mark. Before I was in real estate, I was in the Air Force for 9 years. I was 6 years active duty, 3 years in the Guard. And while I was in the Guard, I was finishing up my degree in applied science at Bluefield State in West Virginia. Then after that, I did quality assurance for the company Henry Schein. And from there, I decided to make some moves. You know, I got accepted into another school, but I decided to do real estate instead. I just wanted to do something that was for me and more business oriented. And instead of being an employee, I wanted to do something that was to get me out of my comfort zone and make me feel a bit more fulfilled. So I kind of landed on real estate and came back to North Carolina, and haven't really looked back. It's been great so far.
Okay, awesome. Anyone have a question regarding what they did before real estate? Nope. Okay. So first sale, how long did it take?
So it took me, I started taking appointments in October. I got my first under contract the first week of December. So two months.
2 months. Okay.
Yeah, for me, it took me a little longer. I don't know if maybe just where I was newer to real estate, new to North Carolina, Raleigh, everything. But as soon as I got my license, that's when COVID hit. And you know, I was trying to do everything right. So I was going out and trying to network, and I was doing open houses, but nobody showed up to open houses. So it actually took me about 8 months before I actually got my first closing. But yeah, it took a little longer, but as soon as I felt like all the work that led up to there helped me out a lot, because I asked a lot of questions. And then from there, and all the help that I've had, it kind of just helped me along the way and in the process.
So from your first closing to today, how many closings have you had?
I think 8
Okay.
with everything.
So Mark took eight months to get his first closing, and he's had 8 since then. And Margie?
I've had 4 closings since then. I have 3 pendings right now.
So she went 2 months, and now she's up to 7. So that's pretty impressive. From when you get your first closing, it looks like the momentum happens.
It does.
Right to say, momentum happens once you have your first closing.
Mhm.
So where did your first client come from? Like, exactly. Give us a little bit about how you got your first client and what it was like. And Mark, you kind of touched on a little bit, but dive a little bit deeper into what that feeling was and where they came from.
You want me to go?
Go for it.
So mine actually came from Facebook at first. I would just put other people's listings online, and there was another agent here, and she allowed me to put some of her listings online. It was land. So someone messaged me on Facebook, and they were like, "Hey, you know, can you tell me more about this land?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we started talking, and through there, you know, they didn't purchase that land, but I said, "Hey, can I help you out to find something else?" They said, "Sure." So immediately I was like, "Okay." And me being a new agent, I was like, before I can even help you, I was like, "I'm gonna need this in writing." You know? And I was like, I just need that for me. And you know, he was a really nice, super cool guy, and we've actually done a couple deals together, and they've all been land. And so he said, "Yeah, sure." So we got everything going, written up, and went under contract and bought some land and sold some land together. So it's been good.
Awesome.
For me, it has been a little bit different because I'm on a team. So by being on a team, we have leads that are flooded in through our ISAs. So my first under contracts were leads that were set to me by our ISA department.
Okay.
They set the appointments for us, and then we hold the consults. But I also have the ability to set my own appointments. So I would say of the 7 pending, half of mine are self-set and half of mine are ISA set. And that just means they come into our database, and we grab them, reach out to them. If I'm able to get them before the ISA does, get the appointment locked down. A lot of my appointments have been via Zoom. I think
Okay.
I've only had probably 5 in person, but just based through the leads coming in through the system. I've had a couple Sphere as well.
So the ones that are from your sphere,
Mhm.
so is it family, close friends, or
Um,
because you put stuff out on social media? Like, what is it that got them to say yes to you?
So I did help one of my best friends close. They closed in February, so that was fun. And then the other Sphere that I'm working with right now is sister-in-law of another one of my best friends. So kind of just through word of mouth, I'm definitely present on my Facebook and social media, making sure that I'm touching base on there at least once every other week, if not once a week.
Okay.
But for the most part, just close friends of mine.
So what did you guys hear? Social media, sphere of influence. I got that from both of them. Did you guys hear that from both of them? So they're constantly putting stuff out there that makes sure that they stay in front of them, because I'm going to make a guess that both of you, the people you're working with, could have had an opportunity, even if they were good friends or family, to go with somebody else, but you stayed in front of them and present because you're posting. Okay. So in your first deal, was there anything in there that you wish you knew going into it that you know now?
For me, it was, I wish I knew more about land, going in real estate school and, being fresh out, we mostly talked about residential real estate. For me, my first deal was land. So I really had to hit the ground running and do my research and background. So I had to learn about soil suitability with sewer, work placement with wells. We put up a initial planning and had to do a sketch and everything for where the dwelling was going to be, where the projected septic system was going to be. Same thing with the well. And then I had to go through the planning and zoning department to see if we could further subdivide the land. And I got really familiar with GIS and the planning and zoning website, and look at what we could do with the land, what was permitted, what was special permits, things like that. So that was a real learning experience, because I had no background on that at all.
So Mark just said he didn't know a darn thing on his first transaction and had to learn it all. And because real estate school didn't teach him that. So there you go. Margie.
My first deal was actually really rough. We went under contract. So we thought, I was working with a listing agent who altered my contract. And I had to get George, the broker in charge at the time, involved, because she altered my contract and passed it off as if they didn't. So it was incredibly stressful. It was scary for me because I was just worried about doing something wrong and making sure that I was obviously representing my clients in the best light. And we actually ended up going with a route that we weren't under contract, because contract was altered, and pulled out of that deal, and then went under contract on a different deal a couple of days later. But it was stressful because it was just something that I hadn't encountered. I didn't mention before, my background before becoming an actual agent was I was transaction coordinator for the Clark team.
Okay.
So for 2 years prior to becoming an agent, I got my license and was transaction coordinator. So I had the background of the contracts and the documents and the paperwork. So I'm glad that I had that, because I don't think had I done that prior, that I would have really realized that her altering my contract meant that we technically were not under contract.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a little.
That's a crazy first experience.
It definitely was like, okay, getting my feet wet.
Any questions so far, guys?
I have a quick question about land.
Go for it.
Where did you learn more? Was that just you, a coach, like you asking questions to your coach, or just doing online research by yourself, or who did you go to exactly for more advice and help with that?
A lot of the advice I had came from George Womble.
Okay.
Yeah, he helped me out a lot. And then other questions that I had actually reached out to attorneys that we were going to be working with. I talked to the planning and zoning department. I think it was Nash County that we did my first deal through. So I was talking a lot with the agencies through them. So with the tax department, zoning department, went through George, talked to the attorneys. So I was talking to all the subject matter experts before going back to my client and telling him. And then also I would make sure to get everything in writing as well. So it wasn't directly just coming from me, but I had it coming from the people who were pretty much in charge to let him know that that's where I got my information from.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. I'm looking around trying to find out where the voice is coming from, and I realized it's a speaker. No.
Okay.
The speakers in here are different. So it's like you're talking from the clouds. So,
I'm in the cloud.
any other questions that came up from what you heard so far? Not everyone at once. You know my drill here. You know my drill. What about you guys? No? I need help with questions.
I think we should put Mark Stewart on.
I actually,
He's paying attention.
I think I have another question regarding the post on Facebook or the listing, or marketing in general. Like, have you guys paid for marketing, or how many times have you done that? Or, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't, for me, I don't think you have to pay for marketing, especially if you have someone who says, yeah, go for it, you can post this, yeah, you can pay for marketing and it's going to reach the masses, thousands, hundreds of thousands, depending on your search and your criteria. But for me, like, I just went straight to the marketplace because there's so many people on there in general, especially in like Wake County marketplace, Nash County marketplace. You got like the man cave yard sales and whatever. And if you're joining up with all those Facebook pages, and then you can go in and I think you can post up to 20 different pages. You can do that for free to reach all kinds of people. And that's how I met my first client.
Okay, so the agent that you got the listing from, then you just kind of shared that listing. Did you have to, so that wasn't technically an ad then?
No,
No.
Okay.
it was not an ad.
Okay.
He did not spend any money. He spent time.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Anything? Hello? Bueller? Okay. So, before I ask another question, is there anything that you guys, thinking about what we just kind of talked through, that it came to your head, like, I just feel the need to share this? So knowing that you're talking to people that have not had a closing yet, are still waiting to get that first contract, or working really hard with buyers to get them under contract on the first one in our market, is there anything that you would share to them? Like, I wish that I knew this, something like that, here's a piece of advice I can give you about getting over that hurdle to your first closing kind of thing.
As far as Facebook goes, just to kind of touch on that a little bit more.
Yep.
It doesn't always have to be like marketing a listing. So anytime I put somebody under contract, I make a post about it. Anytime I've closed somebody, make a post about it. Anytime something big hits the news as far as market or interest rates or anything, I make a post about it. Something new comes, Wegmans comes down the street. Like, it's just anything trying to always be top of mind, like providing value, providing information. And I have not paid for anything. I haven't even actually shared any actual listings or anything like that. There's different levels that you can do. Obviously, my team pays for ads, for Facebook ads and things like that. We also do the same thing. Every listing that they have that hits the market, it goes in the marketplace. So there's plenty that you can put out there as far as getting yourself to be top of mind with your sphere that isn't just advertising towards real estate.
Okay. So did you guys hear that you don't have to have deep pockets to be successful in real estate? So that you don't have to worry about spending a lot of money to gain your clients. It's just about staying in front of them. Staying in front of them is free. What were you going to add, Mark?
Jose's here.
The third wheel just showed up, everybody.
Crazy day.
Jump on in and we're going to drill you with all the questions. No. So right now they're talking about a piece of advice that they would give to these agents that are still working towards their first closing, getting their first client under contract. So Margie was just sharing about being in front of them on Facebook, and so being in front of them, and she's not spending money to post stuff and be out there. And Mark, I was going to see if you had anything to add to that.
I think the only thing I would add to that is, especially if you're a new agent, is just talk to people and surround yourself with people who've been in the business for a while, because even if they're going to help you out without even knowing they're helping you out, because they're just going to talk to you about how the market is and how to answer questions, and they're going to talk about things that are going on, just like Margie said, with new businesses coming in if you're not familiar with it, and especially if you're at the firm. So that's one thing I like to do is at least come in a few days a week and do some work. That way I can hear people talking around me and I can get ideas. I can relay those ideas off the ideas inside my head, say, how can I make this work, and try to pinpoint different things. So, you'll always hear people talking about different networking events and how they think about things and how they do things. And you'll hear them talking to each other and answering those questions. And you're saying, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Like I was talking, I was just sitting at my desk the other day and I heard Ruby talking about going under contract with someone. They're like, well, one thing you can do about due diligence is you can, do this and then you can do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I could do that. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't around and if listening to more experienced agents talk about their business. So that's one thing that really helped me out a lot, is just being around people who've been in the business longer than me, because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you don't know what questions to ask until you learn new advice and are more educated.
So the same thing that you do at home, you can do while you're in the office, because you're on your computer at home and you're on your computer in the office. But in the office, it opens the door to opportunity of conversations that you hear. And you may pick up on one tiny little bit that could change your mindset, that could change how you have a conversation with somebody else, that can then help capture that, or it can close the conversation. And yes, it's a learning opportunity. Awesome. So, Jose, let's catch up on Jose. So, what did you do before real estate?
Oh God, what haven't I done? Well, first job was actually as a recruiter. So I actually worked as a staffing coordinator. There's many names you can say: recruiter, staffing, talent acquisition. Basically, you're just recruiting people. After that, mostly been that. I actually did do a little bit of sales in a purchasing company. So big company that they purchase food for, restaurants, things like that. So taught me a lot about inventory and basically pricing everything well.
Okay.
I did framing for about 4 months. So I did get my hands dirty, for 4 months. Leasing consultant. So taught me a little bit of how to interact and especially deal with difficult clients and difficult people that, you might encounter in your lifetime. And now a realtor.
All right. So how long did it take you till you had your first closing?
Oh God.
Till you got your first client?
It's so weird. It seems like forever to basically say when I'm going to have my first closing. When. I was this close to actually having my first closing, but fortunately didn't go through. But it's like right then and there, I had a person call me, hey Jose, listen, I'm pre-qualified. I want to look for a house. I say position, recruiter mind on the brain. What can I do? How can I get started? So we sat down, we got through the options, we went through everything, and basically about June last year, I had my first closing.
And when did you go active as an agent?
November 2019. So about 6, 7, 8 months maybe.
7, 8 months.
7
So
months.
very similar. Is it similar to Mark's story? So before I jump to Jose for the next question, for all three of you, what did what you did before real estate? What have you leveraged that to help you now in real estate? Or what has that taught you that you still carry on while you're doing real estate, if anything at all? So I'll start with Margie.
Yeah, I'd say 2 things. One, obviously as a teacher with the child aspect of things, I've got a very nurturing personality. I am a hand holder, things like that. So especially in this pandemic right now, everybody's scared, everybody's uncertain. So just kind of being able to, I've always just tried to make it a relationship. I start every consult out by letting them know that this is not a transaction to me, that this is a relationship, and that if at any point throughout this conversation, you don't feel like we're a good match, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. That you're gonna spend a lot of time with me in the next couple of months if we work together, and it's gotta be something that you're comfortable with. And then obviously with the teacher background, the education side of things. So being able to educate them on the process, walk them through, and more or less teach them.
Okay. Jose?
Oh goodness. I mean, you kind of have to think of how you actually bring the recruiting world, but just mostly basically getting on the phone. Just, that's the first thing that they teach you as a recruiter. Don't be nervous about calling people, and I've translated that into my business. Don't be, the worst you can get is a no. So, had to power through it and just basically say, listen, it's another person on the phone. If they hang up, if they say no, all right, keep moving on. That's pretty much the, staffing world industry. You call a person, hey, can you do it? No, I've accepted another position. Okay, all right, thank you so much. Move on to the next person. So it's taught me basically to handle the big NO that many people are scared of, to handle it very well. With sales, I mean, because you're basically constantly, you know, looking at prices, looking at inventory. So doing basically an analysis of, you know, how's my inventory? How much cases of Brussels sprouts do I have? How much are they pricing it at? Am I making the company a profit? Am I basically losing money? So all of that, also pricing and running reports and being able to analyze it meticulously has helped me, you know, okay, how's the market doing? How many homes? What's the inventory? How fast are they going? So analyzing that helps me explain to my clients, listen, if you're looking for a particular area, this is how the market is. So we're going to have to adapt it because each market is different. I mean, the market in Durham is completely different from Raleigh, from Wake Forest, Wendell, what, you know, have you. So that being able to distinguish and also relay that to them has helped out a lot.
Awesome. Mark?
Yeah, for me, I never had any background in sales or recruiting or anything like that. You know, mine was more, especially being in the military, is more like, all right, get up, gotta do this, and I'd be like, okay, let's do it. You know, like, but so for me, it's really been I don't want to say challenging or difficult because it's been fun. You know, so that's for me, it's more exciting doing something new. But I think what I always try to bring to the conversation is just like you were saying, education. You know, I always feel like if somebody walks away with more knowledge than they came in with, and they have something, and you give them something valuable, just like when you give somebody a present, you know, they're like, oh, and they glow, you know, they're so happy. So if you say, hey, this is how the market is, or at least talk about the real estate process with a new home buyer, saying, you know, this is what this is. And you can just talk them through the checkpoints of signing the agency agreement all the way to closing. They just feel more comfortable because they feel like, okay, this person knows what they're doing from start to finish. And, you know, that's just kind of something I bring with me, especially when I talk to somebody who, like I said, is a new home buyer. I say, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is this, and this is what I can give you. And this is what I bring to the table. And we're going to make this a fun transaction. And I always try to put my personality in there too, you know, like, because just like Margie was saying, it's personal, you know, you spend a lot of time on the road with these people, and right now in this market, especially buying, you do have some rejections. So, you know, if you can just make the transaction fun and be relatable and feel like you guys are all coming together, I think, and build a rapport with one another, I think that's the best thing in the world.
So guys, this is 3 different backgrounds of people. And now they all have one common thing in factor, which is that they're all real estate agents. But it goes to show that it doesn't matter where you came from, what your knowledge base is of real estate before you got into here, what your career path was, if you had a career path before real estate. So it's possible to do this. So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Quick answer. What are you selling?
What exactly do you mean by that?
So as a realtor, what are you selling?
I'm selling the experience and the opportunity to get them what they're looking for. I'm not just selling the market or anything like that. It's, okay, I'm selling, this is what I'm going to offer you in this experience. This is what I'm promising you we're going to get at the end of this experience. So I guess I'm selling the outcome that they desire.
Okay.
In like the best way possible.
Great response. Jose, what are you selling?
A great, fantastic, you know, journey, be it first or second, you know, home buyers or sellers, you know, just that fun, exciting journey that they have. That's what I'm selling. Unique journey.
Awesome. Mark?
For me, I'm selling value and knowledge. That's what I feel like I'm selling.
Did any of them say they're selling real estate? Did anyone say they're selling a house or home? No, it's the experience. It's the value. It's the journey. So I commend you for that because I put you on the spot and you passed the test with flying colors. Thank you. Thank you. So if you have somebody in front of you right now, you have an audience in front of you that they are, let's say they're struggling and they're just like, I feel like I need to get out of real estate. This isn't for me. What piece of advice would you give them to keep going or to encourage them in some kind of way? What would you say?
I'd say, come with me and let's go do something. I would say, let's go do something together. just because that's what a friend does. And I feel like that as a good person, especially if you're in the business together, especially under the same roof as KW or whoever, you know, just say, come with me, let's go talk about this. And they probably know just as much as you do as an agent, but they just haven't figured out, they just haven't overcome that obstacle and broken through that wall to where they can hit their stride. So just go out and bounce ideas off each other, go to networking events with one another, and do the wingman concept, talk each other up and build up each other's confidence. I think that's the best thing you can do.
Love it.
Kind of to piggyback off Mark, he talked earlier about being in the office. There's definitely a big advantage to being in the office because everybody here is beyond willing to help. You hear all the time about people needing help with open houses. If you've never done an open house, can I shadow? So there's plenty of opportunity, like you said, to grab a friend, kind of watch what they're doing, shadow, but also just have patience because even though it feels like it's taking forever, we're obviously in really uncertain times and everything right now, and we can see how quickly things can change, like at the drop of a hat. So have patience, like things are going to change. Things are going to be different next month, let alone in the next couple months. So keep like pushing forward and keep putting yourself out there, and eventually it will happen. And then typically once it does happen, it continues to happen.
Oh my goodness, what can I say that they haven't said? Pretty much it just sums it up. I mean, for me, it's just been also just being, you know, just keep motivating, you know, people and just say, you know, keep doing it. And the same thing, you know, big part of this is, you know, role playing, you know, scripts, act it out, you know, see, you know, give people pointers, things like that. You know, I tell people, listen, I you know, with everything that, you know, with the pandemic and things like that, role playing was kind of not an option for me because I'm more of a face-to-face person. So I did it with my family. I'm like, you know, hey, pretend to be a buyer, you know, and let me give you my spiel, my shtick, and then, you know, see, would you, you know, do business with me? Will you not? Most of them just couldn't keep a straight face. They just kept laughing. I'm like, come on, I need something, you know, give me pointers and things like that. But the same thing as Mark and you know, and Margie. Thank you. I'm like, they both start with them. They both start with them. I'm the only J here. Basically, just have a person, you know, shadow them. I mean, it's something I wish I could have done in the first, you know, couple of months, you know, actually shadow someone at an open house. I mean, I haven't done an open house yet. So that's one of the things, you know, on my to-do list. Okay, shop shadow, do an open house, you know, and get that experience, because once you get it, like Margie says, it just keeps going and going and going and going. And
yep,
you basically find yourself, you're like, oh my God, I can do it.
Yep.
And just keep motivating yourself.
And you don't realize that you can do it until you try it the first time.
Exactly.
So, and even these guys sitting here, they've been doing this for months and months and months, and they still have things on their list that they haven't checked off yet. So don't get in a hurry to check the whole list off in one shot. And you don't have to check the whole list off before you go and do the next thing. So it doesn't have, and that's what I heard from this moment right here. If you could, are there any questions before I ask the last question to end this? So we're gonna end this to give you guys back some time. I'm assuming they're all just listening. So if there was one thing that you would go out and do today to help your business, one thing, what would be the one thing that you did, or that, you know, if you could only do one thing that's going to impact your business today, what would that one thing be?
Network.
Mark said network. It's a tough question.
It is. Don't be a network, but also at the same time, I can't even remember. I think it was you, Jose, who said it. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Like, that fear of no is always there in the background, but realistically, what does it matter if they say you no, or if they tell you no? You literally are going to hang up the phone and forget about it because the next person could say yes. So just don't be, I know that was something that I had never had really any experience with phone. I was always either upfront and personal with conferences and things like that, or it was client care stuff when I was transaction coordinator, but it was never sales. And so that was something that I was never going to get better at until I kept doing it, and I kept failing. And then just really work on your mindset, because your mindset truly is what runs the show. I have days where I wake up and I can tell that my mindset is just not where it's supposed to be, and that day typically is a crappy one. And you just always have to recheck your mindset and make sure that you're in the right headspace, because when you are, things happen. So
They do. Awesome.
Maybe I should go first, because basically they get the good ideas. And I'm stuck like, what can I add on to it? For me, it's just keeping that constant communication. I mean, sometimes there's been, many of my current clients, they've actually talked to other realtors and they've said, you're actually, a few of them have actually called me back. They've actually, kept me in the loop and just saying, checked in on me. Most of them, they say no. I mean, for me, I don't take it as a no. I take it as not yet, or maybe not yet. So I just call them, and then once I get a second, I'm like, okay, all right, let's keep moving. But for me, it's just that constant communication. I'm always on the phone, just saying, hey, how you doing? If I know a person's birthday is coming up, start getting a card ready. I actually try to put it like in the front of their house, just so that way they can see a little card right there that says Keller Williams, just like my name. And so that when they come home, it's a really nice surprise. And, I usually get a call or a text message, thank you so much for the card. And I'm like, oh, you're welcome. So those tiny little details, like Margie was saying, make it personal, make it, something you, not too much. That's basically it. Just constant communication, constant relationship.
You got, that's awesome. That's spot on. So any questions? Did we miss anything?
I have a question. So as a new agent, I kind of just don't know what to do on a daily basis. So what did your schedule look like when you first started?
lead gen. Honestly. So everybody obviously works differently. I am a very type A, like plan everything out person. So I thought having a calendar like completely time blocked with every single aspect of my day would be something I would thrive off of. It is not. It is something that causes me stress and anxiety. So I time block one thing and I time block lead gen. I figure out I have lead gen on different times of the day so that I'm hitting people at different times, but trying to make sure that lead gen is there all the time. But I would honestly, as a new agent starting out, find time for lead gen, find time for script practice, find time for things like this, like some sort of educational something each day, whether it's a podcast or a webinar, or there's so many resources for webinars and things out there. So making a point each day to have some sort of practice, some sort of lead gen, some sort of educational aspect of it.
Anyone else want to add on?
Me, it's just also taking time to just do, because it's very important to also, and I've seen this kind of take care of yourself too. Try to get some just motivation, some reflection stories, that keep you positive, because sometimes you kind of drain yourself when you basically just are on the phone or things like that. I felt it useful, just to take a pause and actually just just calm down, have a cup of tea and just relax and just read something that that will motivate me. So also have tons of books that from people successful. So the big millionaire real estate that Keller Williams has, that's a great resource and something that I, whenever I get stuck or whenever I'm like, okay, I need something to motivate me, so I start reading it and I just start getting pumped up and then just power through the day, because you do sometimes get a little slagged and you're like, okay, I can't do any more phone calls, I'm done for today. And maybe there's just like one person you could call that one day that's going to basically make the difference. And just because you said, you know what, I'm done, I'm tired. So have some time to at least take care of yourself. That's always been on my schedule, at least good 30 minutes of just breathing, relaxing, listening to music, and then just go through it again.
I think Jose does goat yoga. I can see him doing that.
I'm not that flexible, but yoga has been on my list to do, but I don't think I can put my head on the top of my head. I mean, like there. Yeah.
That's why you put the goat on your back.
Prove it.
Did you have anything to add, Mark, or did they cover it?
They kind of covered it. I mean, I think none of us here have been, you know, brokers for a very long time. You know, so we're still learning at the same time. You know, we're just, I think the biggest takeaway from today is everything that we've learned is fresh. You know, it's relatively new and on top of our mind. You know, we aren't seasoned agents who's been doing it for 20, 30 years and have massive amounts of business coming in. We're still out there and, you know, hungry and, you know, striving forward and seeing what we can do. And I think that's the biggest thing is, you know, we're sharing what we're doing right now and what's worked for us. And, you know, I think the biggest thing is whenever people talk about, you know, your sphere of influence, you know, those are the people that you know, but how are you influencing your sphere and what impact are they having on you? You know, you can always broaden your sphere between the people that you know, and you have what's called you have a triangle. So you have you, somebody else, and then somebody that they know who can refer you to them. And that's a warm lead, you know? So it's not even the people that you know, it's the people that they know. You know, and that way your sphere can just broaden huge and just be massive. So I think a huge thing that you can always ask whenever you meet somebody is they don't need it. Say, hey, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell or anybody who has any questions about the process? And they'll like be like, yeah, you know what? Actually, I know so-and-so, and be like, hey, can you introduce me? You know, that way they introduce you. And because that person has trust in them, they're going to now have trust in you because that person trusts you. And I think that's, you know, it's usually a pretty good thing that I've used before.
So hearing a lot of simplicity. A lot of the daily life of a real estate agent is simple acts, simple habits, simple little things that you do day in and day out consistently in small amounts of time. So Margie said she does lead gen, but she breaks it up. So she's not sitting there for 4 hours straight. It might be what, a half hour here and a half hour there.
Yeah, I try and at least every 45 minutes, I take a break, go walk around, do something. I don't typically do more than 2 hours at a time.
Yeah. So, and that's what everyone, it's simple little things on repeat with passion, with consistency, bringing value and going, no matter how many times you say no, the yes is right there. The yes is going to happen because the no is just a not yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think today's been awesome. I think that this panel, I mean, you guys did an amazing job. So you spoke true and truth and I applaud you for that. And I thank you for that. And I think the audience does as well. So that's all I have for you guys. So I appreciate you. So for stepping up and doing this. So it's stepping outside the box, out of your comfort zone. And I hope that this moment for you also helped you grow a little bit. So thank you. But that's a wrap, guys. All right. Bye everyone at home.
Thank you.
You're welcome.